Well, state lawmakers passed a liquor liability law last year with the goal of keeping restaurants and bars open and protecting them from costly lawsuits tied to alcohol sales. The law required new insurance coverage and offered businesses ways to lower their risk. But now senators admit the plan may have backfired, and they're looking to temporarily suspend the policy through the state budget. State House reporter Stephen Biddix has those details.
Less than a year after it went into effect, state lawmakers are already considering putting the brakes on a liquor liability law. What was supposed to be a fix isn't working. State senators say they need to go back to the drawing board.
This continues to be an issue.
Nearly a year after passing a major liquor liability law, state senators now want to hit pause.
Businesses have continued to close.
The law requires restaurants and bars to carry a $1 million liability policy. It also gives businesses a path to lower costs, like cutting off alcohol service before midnight. But the law isn't working as planned. Businesses are still struggling, and insurance costs haven't dropped.
We continue to see restaurants and bars, especially the small ones, the mom and pops, closing because of the liquor liability insurance scenario.
We've got to reduce the premiums that bars and restaurants are paying in South Carolina.
The pause would suspend liquor liability requirements, meaning businesses wouldn't need insurance to sell alcohol. Senator Brian Adams knows the struggle firsthand. Adams says when he tried to open a restaurant, insurers refused to offer the discounts the law promised.
Not one insurance company would accept that, and they said either they're going to cover us for $1 million or they will not cover us.
Because, y'all, there is no market in South Carolina for a $400,000, $800,000 policy.
That's correct.
GOP leaders say some bills could bring immediate changes this session, but lawmakers may not resolve it until next year. The suspension would run through June of 2027.
Well, one, I'd like to go to invisible intoxication. I'd like to go straight to $500,000 instead of this graduated scale.
But we're going to have to look at the issue more holistically in the next couple of years, no question.
The suspension is still not a certainty. The Senate must pass their version of the budget, which the suspension is tied to. Then the suspension would have to survive negotiations between the House and the Senate and then earn Governor Henry McMaster's signature. Reporting at the State House, I'm Stephen Biddix.